everybody. How are we doing today on a fun Sunday afternoon, April 6th. So I hope you're all having a good time. I hope you're having a good weekend. Here where I am, the weather has not been great, but we'll enjoy it while we can because it's going to get hot here before we know it. So, that's how it goes. So spring is sprung, and thought I would take a little bit of time today to spend with all of you. Hopefully everybody who watches this both live and anybody who watches it in rerun or repeat. I say rerun. It's such an old TV term, right? Tells you how old I am. But thank you so much for coming by. Thanks. We're talking again about M Squad. And if you've been following me on any of my social media, you know that is the number one focus of my attention lately. And if you're new, let me explain what M Squad is. M Squad is my own custom created, creator-owned, self-published comic book based on superhero characters that I created during my adolescence. Back in the late 80s, I created a superhero team that I called M Squad, and a year ago, I was able to finally bring M Squad to reality with M Squad #1. So here you go. Here is a copy that I have of M Squad #1. The story of the team, and their not necessarily their first adventure, but the first adventure where that's been published, and the first adventure where they meet a future member of the team. So that was super exciting. It's super cool to see that, all the time that these guys have lived in my brain, to have it come to life in a full page, full color comic that I could hold in my hand and that I could get out to all of you. And we did. So the comic sold well. And I was able to get this copy out to readers and fans. And all the feedback I had was super positive, which is greatly appreciated. All of everything that I do is, for the fans. And so I was very, very excited to do this. And of course, the story is not a one and done story. These are characters that I've lived with for, 30 something years, basically. And I have a plan. I have a storyline of what I want to do with all of them. And that means future issues. And so that's what I'm working on right now. So we have issue #2 of M Squad is coming up. All of the work, all of the artwork, the story, dialogue, everything is done. What I'm working towards now is getting the full 40-page story colored by a professional colorist and lettered by a professional letterer, so that I can bring you M Squad issue #2, which will be almost twice as long as M Squad #1, and feature more action, more adventure, more excitement. So right now, I'm going to show you the trailer that I made, which is available on my YouTube channel for M Squad #2. It's going to tell you a little bit about the story. It's going to tell you a little bit about, show you some preview art and what we're looking to do. So without further ado, here we go.
Hey everybody, Jerry Rasco here, and I am so excited to be announcing the latest launch from VTX Comics, M Squad #2. Thanks to all the success we had with our debut of M Squad #1, we are continuing the story with this brand new 40-page action-packed issue. Our heroes, Gravite, Boldar, Nova, Frostbite, Bang, and Spectrum answer the call to save a city from destruction by techno-terrorists. How will our team stack up against these villains in order to save the day? You'll also learn a little more about the background of one of our heroes. And will we answer the question of who is the shadowy figure that orchestrated the events in issue number 1? The only way to find out will be to purchase issue number 2 for yourself. We have some amazing cover options for you to choose from as well. We have cover A by yours truly, cover B by amazing manga artist Tenchi, and cover C by the incredible Duck Bacon. We will also have a blank sketch cover and another set of metal covers, just like we had for issue number 1. All of the artwork for this issue is complete. We just need your help to get to the finish line. I can't wait to get M Squad number 2 out to each and every one of you to enjoy. Thank you so much for all your support, and here's to even more M Squad in 2025. Thanks.
So there we go. So there is a little bit about M Squad number 2, and I'm super excited about this comic and the story. So as I've mentioned in the Indiegogo campaign, which I'll show you here shortly, and in social media stuff, I have been telling everybody a little bit about what the comic is about. So in essence, M Squad is contacted by a friend, an old friend of their leader. So M Squad's leader, Gravite, is contacted by an old friend who is in need of their help to save a city from a group of techno-terrorists that have taken over with violence, destruction, and only M Squad can save the day, basically. So the team comes in and goes to save the city. There are ties back to some of the mystery that was in M Squad number 1, who was behind all of the action that happened there, and then as well, we're going to, of course, see the action and the battle and the fighting and all the cool stuff. As I don't want to give away too many spoilers on that aspect. But what I thought I'd do today, like I said, let me again show you just the Indiegogo campaign real quick. I'll review it very quickly for you. And then I want to show some more preview pages, some that you've seen maybe in the trailer or here, some that I have not showed yet. So I'm going to show you the first few pages of the comic in black and white, and kind of tell you about what's going on in the intro to the story here. So let me go to here. So what we have here is M Squad issue number 2 on Indiegogo. You can search just by the search term M Squad, M-Squad, and it'll come right up to here. We have 54 days left on the campaign, and we have a little bit of progress. Certainly like to see some more if possible. The thing about the campaign here, it is a fixed goal. So this is the cost that it would take to color, letter, and then print and distribute the comic to all the backers. So when you do back this campaign, you're not paying for something to be created that you may or may not get. This is, like I said, it's done. It's just a question of getting it to you. So to me, I'm using this system as a pre-order type of system. So that way I know exactly how many copies to make. So I'm not underprinting or overprinting. So if you're interested and you do back this and we make our goal, you will get a comic. And there are options that you'll see here as we look at the perks, as low as $5 for a digital copy of M Squad number 2. So if you back and you commit to the $5, let's pretend for a minute we don't make our goal. If we don't, then it's no risk to you. You're not charged your $5. You keep your money. Everything is great. if you do back and we do make our goal, then you are guaranteed you will get a copy of M Squad number 2 for what you paid. So whether that's the $5 PDF version, the $15 version with my cover on it, the $20 with the manga inspired Tenshai cover featuring Spectrum, the Duck Bacon cover featuring Boldar, our strongman of the team. You can get the $20 blank sketch cover. So I think I've talked about this before. It is the exact same story inside. It is the same 40 pages interior, but the exterior cover is blank on a cardstock that an artist can draw on for you. So you can take it to your favorite convention, your local comic artist, your local comic shop, and try to find somebody to do a custom one-of-a-kind cover for you. There's also a $50 option where you can get that same cover, but have a drawing by me done on the cover. So whether that's one of the M Squad characters here, like Fang, or it could be whatever your favorite comic book character is. For $50, you get the exact custom one-of-a-kind drawing that you want. There are options for $65 that feature all of the covers. So that's the 3 cover options plus the blank cover. And then for $100, you can get all 3 of the covers here featured, but they're going to be in metal. So I've talked about this a little bit before. We did it on M Squad number 1. This is the only thing right now that is limited to 10 backers. And you can see we have one person has backed this perk or this option. And what the metal cover means is, again, it's the exact same comic book inside. It's all of the same color pages inside. This is an example of the metal cover of M Squad number 1, but the cover itself is printed on a thin sheet of metal that's adhered permanently to the comic book. And as you can hear, it is 100% metal. And it just makes the colors more vibrant, more exciting. And again, limited. So there's only going to be 10 sets, so 30 copies of these comics in metal will be produced. And if you're one of the folks that get them, you're going to have a pretty rare comic. So that's what we have available right now with the M Squad campaign. Definitely check it out. At least, if nothing else, if you're not able to back at this time, just recognize there are 54 days left. When we get to the end, it closes. That's if we have not made our goal, that's it. If we do make our goal after the 54 days, we'll go to what's called in demand, which means we'll be able to take additional sales after the fact. But the key is we have to hit that goal before the end of the 60 days of this campaign. Now, let's say you do check it out, which I greatly appreciate. And if you can't back for some reason, all you have to do here is click the share button. You can share to Facebook, you can share to Twitter, you can copy the link to the campaign and post it to whatever social media you utilize. If that's X, if you want to put it to, copy the link and paste it into your Facebook page, Instagram, any of those things help me out a ton to get the word out beyond just the folks who follow me on social media, follow me on YouTube. Again, just sharing is incredibly valuable and means the world to me. So if you have that opportunity, even if you can't back, please consider sharing the campaign and getting it out to maybe somebody who wouldn't see it normally, who would really like to get involved and get a copy of M Squad number 2. So just a couple quick things I'll point out here as well. If you did not get a copy of M Squad number 1, there will be copies of M Squad number 1 available. I'm working on that. So this is my first Indiegogo campaign. I did crowdfund the issue number 1, and I did that through Kickstarter. And Kickstarter worked perfectly fine. I wanted to try Indiegogo so that I could compare apples to apples in terms of seeing which system I like better. For me, again, I'm using it in the same methodology. It's just a way of taking pre-orders, in my opinion. That's how I'm looking at it. And again, the Indiegogo provides you the option of being in demand. So when Kickstarter closed out our campaign for M Squad number 1, that was it. I couldn't take any more orders through Kickstarter. It was done. And then when I put posts up on social media about, hey, M Squad #1 is here, I showed when the copies got delivered and I pulled them out of the box. It was the most incredible feeling. Like I literally was smelling the new comic and being like, "This is mine." I did it. It was super. It was a high point. I mean, top 10 of my life. And so I was posting those things, and people were like, "Oh, I never saw the campaign. I missed out on Kickstarter. Can I still get one?" And I was able to deal with everybody individually on a one-off basis. But going in demand through Indiegogo, which Kickstarter doesn't do, gives me an opportunity to continue to sell once the campaign is technically over and the comic has been printed. So that's the reason. A couple of people have asked why Indiegogo. That's the reason why I chose Indiegogo. And depending on how this campaign goes, I may find that Indiegogo is not the house for me. It's not where I want to be, and maybe I go back to Kickstarter. We'll see. So that's a little bit about that. What else did I want to share about the crowdfunding Kickstarter campaign? That's pretty much it that I can think of off the top of my head. So let's go ahead and let me show you some, like I said, some of the first few pages of the book. And there's no dialogue on these pages. That will be done digitally after the colors are done. But I just want to go through it and share with you a little bit and give you a sneak peek of the first few pages of M Squad #2. So we're going to head over there. So here we have page 1, where we show the top is what was established as their headquarters building in issue #1. It's nondescript, and it's nondescript on purpose. It's supposed to look like your everyday sort of corporate, what do they call it? Industrial office type building, in essence, to keep their location secret, so that people aren't, obviously enemies aren't after them, but also just the general public doesn't know. And here it looks like we've got Fang, Nova, Spectrum, and Boldar. They look like they're getting ready for action. They're yelling at each other. They're preparing for something. And now we go to page #2, the splash page there, where they're fighting these robot drones. This is training. So they're in a training session. So what's happened since the end of issue #1? Issue #2, Spectrum, who was the person that they saved in issue #1, she has joined the team. So she was attacked partially because of her nature, of her own superpowered nature, and knowing that would draw M Squad in, which it did, but they were able to defeat the trap in issue #1, and here they are 6 months later training together with her as a part of the team. So they're fighting these robot drones, and you get to kind of see what they can do. So Boulder, of course, is super strong and durable. He's ripping a drone apart by his bare hands. Fang, with his sharp claws, is shredding one. Nova has burned a hole through others. And Spectrum is using her power. So if you didn't read issue #1, Spectrum has the ability to make solid objects out of light. So she can create what they call hard light objects. And the reason that it's just this open shape here is because we use computer coloring to make it rainbow hued, almost like if you ever see an oil slick in the light and it has that sort of shimmery rainbow color that changes and moves. That's kind of what her powers look like. So she's using that almost like a scythe to cut the robots in half. So here we cut to outside. We see pieces flying, and we have Gravite in his day-to-day clothes. He is watching through the window. We have some background support folks for M Squad who are communicating with some information, and in comes Frostbite. So this is Frostbite again in her sort of civilian clothes. She is the brains of the outfit. She is the scientist of the outfit, not just a superpowered being. So she has been in the lab and she's working to try to figure out what's going on, or what was happening in issue number one. And so they have a little conversation about how things are going. What has she found out? And now we cut to a splash page montage that shows you a little bit about issue number one. Again, spoilers if you haven't read issue number one. The bad guy is this robot. The team tries to take him out, but the robot was designed to sort of counter all of their individual powers. So it had a personal gravity generator that prevented Gravite from just using the force of gravity to throw it into the sun. It was fireproof. It was ice proof. It was almost as strong as Boldar. It was pretty durable until they were able to join their powers together in unison. And now they took the head with them, and she has been running tests on this head of this robot, and she's explaining what she's found about the robot. So they talk about that a little bit, and so who could have been behind it? What was the purpose? Obviously it has something to do with, they believe, with Spectrum, since she was the target, and we showed her here again using her powers, punching a hole through one of the drones, and then this one creating spikes that are piercing from the inside out of this robot here. And then another support staff comes up. He has an urgent message for Gravite. He takes the video pad, and his old friend from the FBI is reaching out to him. He's desperate. He needs M Squad's help immediately. And Gravite's like, of course, we go way back. I know you wouldn't call me if it wasn't an emergency. So he lets the team know, hey, training's over. We've got a mission. And that, actually, I'll show you one more page, because I think this is kind of neat. This is something we haven't seen before. So here we show our characters who normally are in their superpowered form. So Fang transforms from his werewolf form to his normal human form. He's not a werewolf all the time. He can go back and forth. So this is what he looks like as a regular person. So he's actually bald and extremely hairy. And so when he becomes Fang, he looks totally different. And then here as well, Boldar transforms from his stone version, where his body is composed of this super durable, harder than granite kind of stone, to his normal human form. So he shrinks down a little bit. He's still very tall, very muscular, but he's nowhere near as big as he is when he's in his stone form. So that's something I wanted to show in this issue, that the team, that these folks that we've only seen in their superpowered forms, they have regular human forms as well. So that is the first few pages of M Squad number 2. I hope you'll like them. I hope you find it interesting, and you go, that's just the first few pages. So that's the first 7 pages. There's 33 pages more to go that involve double page spreads, Gatling laser guns, fire, ice, snipers, sewers, and destruction. So if any of that kind of stuff interests you as a comic book reader, I know that M Squad number 2 is going to be right up your alley. So the other thing I was going to say that I got off track was, so you're saying to yourself, I didn't get M Squad number 1. Why would I buy M Squad number 2? Well, so for M Squad number 2, you 100%, as you can see in the first few pages, we recap everything that happened in M Squad number 1. I believe in the old adage that comes from, I heard from several Marvel editors, stories about them over the years. Every comic book is somebody's first comic book. So it's very important within the first few pages that you either recap or at least use storytelling to bring the reader up to speed to where you are today. It's very hard to jump into the middle of a comic. And so my goal is to do that. So hopefully you can see in those first few pages, we do spend some time really talking about what happened 6 months ago, where they are today, and and that there's still some mystery, but they're starting to put some pieces together, and that will continue. So you don't have to have M Squad #1. But what if you are a collector and you say, hey, I want to have both, but I didn't order M Squad #1? As you can see, I have copies. I've shown them. I am going to adjust the campaign as soon as I have time, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, to try to figure out how to do what are called add-ons. So the add-ons are things when you pick your campaign level that you want to back. So, you know, maybe it's just the $15 Jerry cover, right? So if you want to back that cover and you also want to add on something like a copy of M Squad #1, you pick that, and then it allows you to also pick the other things that you want to do. So I'm going to work on that, and you will have an option to purchase both issues, 1 and 2. And then the other add-on that we're going to have is original art. So the original hand-drawn 11 by 17 pages for M Squad #2 will be available for sale. Obviously there's only 40 pages total. Some of them are 2-page spreads, so it's one image that goes across 2 pages. Those would be 1 page. So there's technically really less than 40. There's 40 individual pieces of paper, let's put it that way, but some of them are multiple page spreads. So it's a first come, first serve basis in terms of if anybody is an art collector and wants to do something like that. So I'll be working on getting that up on the campaign as well. So there we go. We talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about campaign. I showed you some original art. Last time we were on, I showed you another page that is a pinup in the back that shows a character called the Flag, which is he's going to make an appearance in M Squad #3, which is already written. I've started working on the pages for that. And I started coloring it, and I wanted to come back and do a little bit of that for you. So we've got roughly about a half hour or so to do some more coloring here. And if anybody does end up jumping in here live and wants to watch, if you have comments, I am on StreamYard, which does show me comments. So I should be able to see if anybody does drop comments in Facebook. Let's see here. I'm going to try to log in on my phone. There we go. And just kind of see if I have any Facebook comments come in case I miss them. They should show up here. Likewise, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to drop a comment, I should see that here as well. But yeah, if anybody is watching and wants to join the conversation, ask questions, talk about the book, the campaign, whatever, that's what we're here for. And I'll keep an eye on that. So in the meantime, let's do this. Let's go over to my tablet in Photoshop, and let's do a little bit of coloring on the flag. So what I did last time is I showed you how I had done the flatting colors. So you have all these solid areas. Here, I'll show you what it looks like if you take off that. It's just the solid colors, which are sort of the middle tone of these colors. So then I started coming in with a new layer of blue and starting to do the shadows and the highlights on the blue areas. I did change it a little bit. I'm going to go back in. I wasn't happy with some of the highlights that I had done on the legs. They were a little too big, too much. So I'm going to go clean those up. But in the meantime, I want to show you again how this works. And I'm going to start the new layer here, and we're going to do the red. At the very least, we'll get some of the shadows done on the red. So let me get to here. Okay. So what I want to do, the reason I do this way with the flats is I can go to that layer, and now I can select everything that's that red color in just one click. But then I can go to a different layer where I'm going to add paint over my highlights and my shadows. And so I'm going to come in with my brushes. Now, there are a lot of different brushes you can use. Um, and you can see there's all sorts of different shapes, different patterns, stuff like that. I tend to use these either hard or soft brushes. So for things like the shadows, I'm going to use more of a hard brush because I want the shadow to be more of a delineated line, whereas the highlights are more soft where the light is shining on it. That's just the way I look at it. Everybody's different. And then I'm going to make that a slightly larger, I believe. And then I'm going to zoom in a little. So we're going to be looking there. Brush. No, not that. My brush. Okay. So now I'm going to select the color red that I used. And because this guy is in my story, he is the definitive American patriotic superhero, official, designated by the government. So I've used what are the actual RGB codes for the American flag. And I know it looks kind of funky. Again, it all depends on what screen you look at. So I'm looking at it through 3 different screens. I have a monitor on my right where it looks perfect. I have a monitor in front of me that's a little brighter, and the red looks almost purpley. And then when I look on it on my tablet, it's somewhere in between. Now, one of the reasons for that is that green background. The green background 100% makes it look different when it's next to it. So don't let the optical illusion kind of trick you. It is, despite the monitor, it is definitely the official color of the American flag. So I've chosen that same red color, and now what I want to do is get a slightly darker version of it. And I could go on this scale here, I could go straight down towards black, but I want to come more over towards where this gray area is in this diagonal line. So I probably want to come down somewhere in here. That's off the top of my head. I would say that looks, you can compare the two here. That looks to me like a good shadow. The reason I'm moving it over towards this sort of neutral gray is because that's what shadows do. If you see something and it's shadowed, for sure, it's going to gray out that color. So, and you can, do this experiment yourself, is take something that, is like a bright red. Like I have this envelope, this card envelope. And if you put it under a shadow, it doesn't just become a dark red. It really is less vibrant. And that's where the gray portion of that color comes into play. And so that's how I like to do my shadows. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to come in and drop some shadow along the lines of where I've indicated with the ink the darkest lines. So you can see what I've done. The reason that the dark lines are underneath this is because things like his pectoral muscles are protruding out away from his chest, so that underneath them is going to be darker. This line under here is under your rib cage, and which protrudes a little bit. So again, the top of that is going to be dark. The ab muscles kind of bulge out and under, so underneath those is going to be a little dark. So the idea, based on the shading, is that the light is coming from up above, so everything underneath that light is going to be more shadowed. So that's the reason why I'm putting the shadows where I'm putting them. And then again, if you're not familiar with Photoshop, this is another reason why I do things the way I do them, with flat colors on one layer and then all my shadows and my highlights on another layer. And the reason for that is I can select everything that's red with one click. And that means I can color over, like I can come over here and just go like this. It does nothing to the blue. It does nothing to the white. It does nothing to the green, nothing to the yellow, because I've only selected that area that's red. And so that really is, helps out. Now I'm coloring on this red channel, which I can turn off and turn on, and I can make adjustments to it. So if I felt like this isn't red enough or it's not dark enough, I can use the tool. I don't have to repaint it all. I can use the tool, and I can do things like adjust the brightness and contrast or the hue, or I can do a lot of things through the tool itself to make adjustments that I don't have to go through and just recolor it like it's like you would if you were coloring it by hand, right? If I was coloring it with colored pencils or markers or paint, I would have to go over it again. With this, I can do it differently. Likewise, once I've done the shadows, I can then unselect all the shadow area because the shadows are all the same color. And then I'm left with still just the parts that are pure red. When I put in the highlights, I won't paint over my shadows. So these are some of the tricks that I've learned in terms of using Photoshop. I do not claim in any way, shape, or form to be an exceptional colorist when it comes to the tool. I certainly understand coloring, color theory, why you use certain colors next to each other, what you're trying to accomplish, with that. I've done all those things. I've taken classes in painting, in drawing with color, all that kind of stuff. So I get all that. The problem for me is just I don't do it often enough with Photoshop, that I'm not as well versed with the tool as somebody that this is what they do all the time. And so because of that, I don't color my own work digitally that often. If people do reach out to me for commissions that are not going to be printed, so if you wanted a commission to hang on your wall and you wanted it color, I would color it by hand with markers. And I do that kind of stuff all the time. But to color something for print is not something that I do that frequently. So that's why there may be some Photoshop folks who see this video who go, "What are you doing? Like, you're going about it so back halfwards, or there's easier ways to do it, or you should be using cuts, or you should be doing this or that." Like, I'm sure there's many different ways I could improve my process, but the reality is trying to draw, try to write. So I write all my own comments, trying to write, trying to draw, trying to ink, and trying to publish are all basically full-time jobs. And adding in coloring is something that I don't always have the time for. So it's the part that's kind of become probably the most underdeveloped skill set. But I think what I'll be able to do here will definitely be satisfactory for this pinup. I did color the cover that I did. So when you see the Jerry Rasco cover option in the campaign featuring Spectrum and Frostbite Under Fire, that I drew and I colored that. And then I also did color the line art for the Boldar Duck Bacon version of the cover. I think it's cover C. So, I've done some color work. So this is going to be for now kind of my deepest shadow. Again, I can adjust it however I want just by being able to select that color, which I can do because it's on its very own layer. Now what I want to do is something that's not quite as dark. So it's not the hard shadow. I want something that's sort of in between. So I'm going to select my color And then I'm going to select this. Oh, oops. I have to make sure I'm on the right layer. Hang on. Cancel. I'm going to select this color. And I'm going to come up here and select that color. Oops. I want to select that color. And now I've got these two colors here, and I'm looking for something that's sort of in between. So you can see them on the little hang on. Over, yeah. Anyway, I can see it, and I want to get something in between. So I want to select from here. I want to get kind of like there. So it's not as dark as that main shadow. Now I'm going to go to a softer brush. And I'm also going to turn down the opacity of the brush so that I'm not painting in a humongous swath and coloring over. I just want to show some hints of where it's dark, but not quite as hard shadow as the dark shadow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to deselect all the shadow that I just did. So now I won't paint over that part. So now let's do this. And now what I want to do is come in like, so the light is coming from the top. So underneath here is going to be a shadow. It's just not as dark as the hard shadow we just did. Same here. It's going to be pretty subtle. And if it's too subtle, I might have to make some changes, but that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Underneath here is going to be a little bit darker in between. Oh, the other thing I could do actually is this, which is kind of cool. Control H hides the little selection. So you don't have the little dancing, marching ants or whatever it's called. So, but I'm still not painting over those hard, dark shadows that I put on, which is good because I don't want to. I just want to, oops. I just want to add some softer in-between shading in some areas that are sort of in between. They're not the brightest light, but they're not going to be the hardest shadow either. So kind of an in-betweener to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not gradation, but like something to sort of transition. That's the word I was looking for. It's a red transition. So it's not as dark as the hard shadow. It's not as light as the red, but I need a transition, something between them. That's what I'm going to do. To hit the parts where might be a little bit darker, but not a ton. Okay. So something kind of like that. And then what I'll be able to do is go back, like I said, look at it, decide, is that dark enough? Is it too dark? Is it too light? Et cetera, et cetera. So now I've got some red shadows in there. What I want to do is I'm going to add some highlights. And now this is the thing that took me forever to figure out. And I don't remember where I saw it. It was a video, a colorist posted or something. But the idea was, how do you do a red highlight? So if you don't think about it, and you just kind of go, well, what's a light version of red? You would think I would go up on the scale here and get into like pink, right? So let's say I want to make this a lighter red. Well, what's the lighter? Well, you head towards white and I start to get pink. light red really isn't pink. When something is red and gets light shined on it, it doesn't turn pink. The way to do it actually is to come down and start to get into the orange territory. And that oranges are actually function like a lighter red than pink does. And so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some kind of orange. I'm actually going to make it a little more. I'm going to try. A lot of this is trial and error, meaning like I try a color and I go, how's this work? And if it doesn't work, I try something else. But I still have my selections. So like, for example, I can't put orange over the blue. I can't put orange over the yellow. It's only going to be on the red part. I can't even put orange over the shadow because that's all selected. I'm only going to put orange along this edging for now. So this is what I'm trying to do is show that highlight of where the light is hitting the form and brightening it up. Not to a red, but to actually an orange. And the mistake I made on the legs before was I made the highlights too bright. Or not too bright, but too big. It almost looked like balloons. Like it was way too big. So I'm going to go a lot more subtle here with the size of the highlights at this point. I can always come back in and add some highlights if I want to, if I miss an area. But for right now, I'd rather be a little subtle and then come back and add than be too much and have to go fix it. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. So orange, and then if I wanted to make it really bright, if he was under like really, really bright lights, as opposed to orange, I would go with almost a yellow and go from orange to yellow to bring out that highlight even more. In fact, let's bring it up here to something like this, and I'll show you because I think I'm going to do some of that. So like you can do even smaller spots, because the costume is a shiny, material. It's a true superhero costume. And so let's do on that very, very edge where it's catching the most light. Go with that yellow. And then, yeah. So there we go. So there's what I would do with the red shadows and highlights. And again, if I really wanted to, I could go maybe a little darker with the shadows, but let's just turn it off and you'll see the difference. So that's what it looks like with just plain red. And then there's what it looks like with the highlights and the shading on it. From here to here, from here. So you can see that it really emphasizes the shape of the forms. It starts to bring in that volume and make it more three-dimensional, which is obviously the goal, right? When we go from just black and white, I say black and white, obviously there's a green background here, but that's neither here nor there. So just black and white line art to flat colors to now turning on some of those shades and highlights. Then you can do stuff like this too. Let's see what it looks like without the lines. Does it still look like the same form? Can you still see the shapes and things without the lines? I feel like I can, so that's a good sign. So I feel pretty good about this. So I'm pretty happy. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save it. So let me go back here. All right. So I'm just going to save that file for now and kind of wrap up the stream here. So been going about an hour. I appreciate everybody who has watched, liked. I see some thumbs up, some hearts. I appreciate it. In the future, if you do see me live, whether that's Facebook or YouTube or any other social media platform, if I'm there and you're viewing and you want to just say hi, drop a comment, say hi. I'd be happy to see you and to bring you into the conversation. I love to talk about what I'm doing with folks. If you've ever seen me at a convention, I love to talk and draw at the same time. Sometimes I do a little more talking, sometimes I do a little more drawing, but both are a ton of fun, and I enjoy doing it and answering questions. So feel free to jump on, say hi, ask some questions, to make some jokes, make fun of me, to whatever. It's all good. It's all up for grabs. I appreciate it. So we're going to wrap up here. Like I said, we're going to end and that is it. So thank you all so much. Appreciate your time. Think about, if you are on YouTube, liking and subscribing to the channel. I do have new videos coming out every single Monday morning, featuring my amazing Spider-Man retrospective videos that I do, where I go through every issue of Spider-Man and talk about the art and the process and everything with how Spider-Man the Amazing Spider-Man comics were created. And so you can check those out, as well as updates here for things like M Squad, my other project, The Just, and anything else I'm doing. So thank you all so much. Appreciate it. And we will see y'all soon.
Hey everybody, Jerry Rasco here, and I am so excited to be announcing the latest launch from VTX Comics, M Squad number 2. Thanks to all the success we had with our debut of M Squad number 1, we are continuing the story with this brand new 40-page action-packed issue. Our heroes, Gravite, Boldar, Nova, Frostbite, Bang, and Spectrum answer the call to save a city from destruction by techno-terrorists. How will our team stack up against these villains in order to save the day? You'll also learn a little more about the background of one of our heroes, and will we answer the question of who is the shadowy figure that orchestrated the events in issue number 1? The only way to find out will be to purchase issue number 2 for yourself. We have some amazing cover options for you to choose from as well. We have cover A by yours truly, cover B by amazing manga artist Tenchi, and cover C by the incredible Duck Bacon. We will also have a blank sketch cover and another set of metal covers, just like we had for issue number 1. All of the artwork for this issue is complete. We just need your help to get to the finish line. I can't wait to get M Squad number 2 out to each and every one of you to enjoy. Thank you so much for all your support, and here's to even more M Squad in 2025. Thanks.